You may have heard someone say, or perhaps you've said it to yourself, that you're just tired, that it's only a demanding phase, that a vacation or a few good nights of sleep will fix everything. But what happens when rest doesn't work? What happens when the body stops, but the mind remains exhausted, heavy, without enthusiasm, as if something inside has been drained? This is where many people begin to realize that it's not just ordinary tiredness. Burnout often arrives quietly, disguised as dedication, responsibility, and constant effort. And precisely for that reason, it goes unnoticed for a long time. Burnout is not laziness, it is not emotional weakness, and it is certainly not a lack of willpower. It is a state of deep physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion that develops from prolonged chronic stress, especially related to work, constant pressure, and the feeling that nothing is ever enough. At first, it appears almost invisibly. The person keeps functioning, completing tasks, delivering results, but internally, something begins to break down. Pleasure decreases, motivation fades, and the sense of meaning that once existed slowly disappears. In this early stage, it's common for people to take pride in their endurance. They work beyond their scheduled hours, respond to messages outside of work time, take on extra responsibilities, and ignore the body's warning signs. Exhaustion becomes routine, tension feels normal, and rest is seen as wasted time. Culturally, many societies reinforce this mindset, valuing overwork as a sign of success and commitment. Within this context, burnout finds the perfect environment to grow. Over time, the body begins to demand attention. Sleep becomes irregular, even when there is time to rest. The mind doesn't slow down, thoughts loop endlessly, and irritability increases. Small tasks start to feel overwhelmingly heavy. A constant sense of pressure emerges, as if everything is urgent all the time, even when it isn't. The person may become emotionally distant, less empathetic, more cynical, not because they want to be, but because they are too exhausted to care the way they used to. This is a good moment to pause briefly and invite you in a calm and gentle way to support our work. If this content resonates with you, leave a like, subscribe to the Well State channel, and activate the notification bell. This helps us continue bringing important conversations about well-being, mental health, and quality of life to more people. Returning to burnout, one of the biggest misconceptions about this condition is the belief that it appears suddenly. In reality, burnout is a process. It is the accumulation of countless small daily sacrifices of personal limits. One, just a little more effort. One, just until this project is done. One, I'll take care of myself later. Each time rest is postponed, the body is ignored, and emotions are suppressed. The wear deepens. And because external results often continue for a while, internal alarms are easily dismissed. Another central aspect of burnout is that it doesn't only affect physical energy, it impacts identity. People experiencing burnout often begin to doubt their own competence, even when they are experienced and capable. There is a constant feeling of inefficiency, of never doing enough, of always falling short of expectations that seem impossible to meet. This psychological erosion is one of the most painful aspects of burnout because it strikes directly at self-esteem. Burnout also changes the way people relate to work and to others. What once brought satisfaction begins to generate aversion. The professional environment becomes emotionally heavy. Social interactions feel more draining than they should. Simple conversations seem to require an enormous amount of effort. Many people describe a sense of emptiness, as if they are functioning on autopilot, disconnected from what they do and from who they are. At this stage, the idea of "it's just tiredness" starts to fall apart. Normal tiredness improves with rest, leisure, and sleep. Burnout does not. Even after a free weekend or a few days away, exhaustion persists. The body may rest, but the mind remains overloaded. That's because the problem isn't only the amount of effort, but the way the person has been relating to demands, to themselves, and to their own limits. Burnout is often accompanied by clear physical symptoms: frequent headaches, muscle tension, digestive issues, changes in appetite, lowered immunity. The body begins to express what the mind tried to silence for too long. Ignoring these signs can lead to even more serious consequences, both mentally and physically. It's important to emphasize that burnout is not the result of individual failure. It develops within environments that normalize overload, constant pressure, and the absence of real recovery. Cultures that reward excess and undervalue care create ideal conditions for burnout to take hold. That's why talking about burnout also means talking about culture, unrealistic expectations, and our collective difficulty in respecting human limits. As exhaustion deepens, many people begin to feel trapped. There is a fear of stopping and losing space, recognition, or stability. At the same time, continuing feels unsustainable. This internal conflict generates anxiety, guilt, and a sense of helplessness. Many keep going simply out of inertia, disconnected from their own needs, believing there is no alternative. Recognizing burnout is a crucial step, but not an easy one. It requires honesty with oneself and the courage to question patterns that have been normalized over years. It requires admitting that something isn't right, even when everything appears to be functioning on the outside. This recognition is not a sign of weakness, but of awareness and responsibility towards one's own health. When we understand that burnout is not just tiredness, we begin to see how deeply it is connected to the way we live, work, and pressure ourselves. It's not only about having too many tasks, but about a constant relationship with urgency, pressure, and the belief that personal value is directly tied to productivity. Repeated day after day, this mindset shapes behaviors that seem normal but gradually become deeply damaging. Burnout develops when there is no space for emotional recovery. Even moments of rest are invaded by worries, unfinished tasks, and guilt for not being productive. The brain remains in a state of alert, as if it were never safe to fully relax. This prevents genuine mental and emotional restoration, creating a continuous cycle of exhaustion. Another important factor is the difficulty of setting clear boundaries. People experiencing burnout often have a strong sense of responsibility, struggle to say no, and tend to take on more than they can sustain. There is often a fear of disappointing others, appearing incompetent, or missing opportunities. Over time, these fears push the person beyond their limits until the body and mind simply can't keep up. Burnout is also commonly linked to a loss of meaning. Even activities that once aligned with personal values begin to feel empty. This creates silent suffering because the person doesn't understand why they feel this way. After all, everything is fine. There is work, responsibility, achievement, yet internally, nothing feels connected anymore. This disconnection is a significant sign that the exhaustion runs deeper than surface-level stress. Unlike temporary stress, which arises from specific challenges and tends to decrease once the situation resolves, burnout is persistent. It takes hold when stress becomes chronic and emotional resources are no longer sufficient to cope. The person no longer reacts, they simply endure, and enduring for too long comes at a high cost. Addressing burnout requires more than occasional breaks. It requires real changes in how one relates to work, time, and expectations. It requires relearning how to listen to internal signals, respect limits, and understand that rest is not a reward but a basic necessity. Often, this process involves professional support, whether psychological, medical, or both. Seeking help is an act of care, not failure. It's also essential to reclaim the idea that well-being is not a luxury, it is a requirement for a sustainable life. Ignoring burnout doesn't make it disappear, it makes it worse. The earlier the signs are recognized, the greater the chances of recovery without severe consequences. This applies both to individuals and to collective environments. Speaking openly about burnout helps break stigma. It normalizes conversations about limits, mental health, and balance. Many people suffer in silence because they believe they are alone or that they shouldn't feel this way. When the topic is brought into the open, it creates space for identification, understanding, and change. If you recognize yourself in some of the signs we've discussed, know that this does not define who you are. It simply indicates that something needs attention. Burnout does not erase abilities, talents, or personal value. It is a signal that the body and mind are asking for care, adjustment, and above all, respect. Caring for mental health doesn't mean abandoning responsibilities. It means learning how to sustain them in a more human way. No one can give their best while constantly operating at the limit. True performance is born from balance, not exhaustion. If this content helped you in any way, consider leaving a like, subscribing to the Well State channel, and activating the notification bell to continue receiving content that promotes awareness, well-being, and quality of life. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on this topic. May you move forward with greater clarity, kindness towards yourself, and respect for your own limits.